to SPNation Season 2, brought to you by Sports Plus. In this sports debate show, we welcome your thoughts. Say what you gotta say, so speak your mind freely. I'm your host for tonight, Kyla Cortez, and joining me are Juan Banal and Martin Antonio. What is up, you guys?
Good to be back. A lot of NBA games and a lot of also non-NBA happenings. Coach Hammer.
Truth? Ang dami kong pinanonood na games.
Ang pinapanood ba natin ngayon, sports o grabe rin yung politics?
Medyo nagising ako, medyo tambak.
So may comeback din na nangyari dun. So ako, I don't know, it's obviously we're not involved in that, but it's a talk of the town.
Okay, so, but for tonight, of course, mag-focus tayo international na muna. So we'll be talking about NBA. But before that, sports fans, if you're ready to elevate your sports experience, dive into the world of live sports like never before with Sports Plus PH. Whether you're a die-hard fan or simply love the thrill of the game, we've got you covered. So register now at sportsplus.ph. Leading you guys with our hot takes for tonight. So first, the curious case of Joel Embiid. Second, Cooper Flag, is he worth the hype? And of course, our SPN expert picks. So are you guys ready?
Curious case of Benjamin Button. Ganda ng natin.
Ng palakas baliktad yun.
Okay, so last Saturday, so I think Sunday for us, right? November 3. So the Memphis Grizzlies faced the Philadelphia 76ers, where the Grizzlies won 124-107, but that's not our hot take. So during that day, Joel Embiid, I think he's watching, supporting, nasa sideline siya. He shoved Philadelphia Inquirer reporter Marcus Hayes after a locker room altercation. So, and earlier today, just an update, guys, we received an update that Embiid will now miss 3 games as his suspension. No, so
well, number one, that 3-game suspension doesn't really make a dent because we haven't seen him play. I mean, who knows, diba? We're just delaying something that's already been happening. But I think that the reason why we're even talking about this, kasi nga, unang-una, never heard or bihira or rarely, Coach Hammer is in the same space that I'm in. We're both in the media side, the same, what we're doing now. And so yung nagkaroon ng girian between a player and somebody from media. Usually, yes, merong mga maanghang na salita na sinasabi, pero to get physical, medyo kaya siya natin na pag-uusapan. And Joel Embiid was part of that altercation kung saan yung isang reporter nga or writer nga, nagkaroon sila ng exchange ng words. And the context kasi is, syempre, if you're a Sixers fan, diba, you're gonna be asking the question, where is Joel? I think more than the curious case of Joel Embiid, the big question is, where is Joel Embiid?
So where's Jojo?
Exactly. Yun yung big case. And I
pain
think that was really the reason for the article. And sinabi nga, diba, parang, again, for those who don't know, si Joel Embiid had a brother that passed away.
Yes.
Nagkaroon ng vehicular accident, and then nagkaroon siya ng newborn child. And so, napasok kasi yun dun sa article.
Kasi named yung child niya after this person.
That's right. And so, question na parang, are you really setting a good example to your son? And are you really parang honoring your brother by the way you are behaving today? That you're not showing up, you're paid to show up. And parang kasi nga nagkaroon ng statement na si Joel Embiid said, I will not play back-to-back games. Mabigat yun na statement. So parang ang sinasabi natin, expect mo na pag may back-to-back games, hindi ako magpapakita dun sa next game. And so ngayon na-question yung durability, na-question yung professionalism niya.
Yes.
Na hindi ba dapat every game you should show up? Coach Hammer, 90s. Pinagtatawanan nila tong load management.
Yan, kasi
diba?
the pride and joy of any basketball player is to compete at a very high level against the very best players. So again, your best ability is your availability. But going back, we know that New York is one of the hardest media markets. Next to it is Philadelphia. Hindi na to bago yung mga
calling out players.
Allen Iverson went through this. But again, baka nag-cross ng line Kasi a lot of people say so many things until the big monster is right in front of you.
Exactly.
Yeah, maraming, kahit yun, sa social media, people would say so many things.
Keyboard warriors, di ba?
Keyboard warriors. Everybody is very good till somebody slaps the living crap out of your mouth. So that's what happened. And we saw it the other day also with another Philadelphia legend, with Jason Kelsey, throwing slander on his brother Travis. He slaps the living crap out of somebody's phone. I know, Kyla, you know this. So, and ang ganda ng statement niya, I chose hate. He chose hate to react to that because a lot of people think that they can say so many things against people that might be going through a lot. Kasi okay na questionin mo yung professionalism.
Which is what Joel Embiid said.
You can question his professionalism because I am not a Joel Embiid fan and I'm very outspoken about it. It's Joel Embiid, Kelly Oubre, and Swaggy Poole. Yan tatlong yan, parang medyo, si Chris Paul medyo maabot na rin. Medyo parang ang hirap panoorin for me. But again, you can question their professionalism. But if you question their character, and you parang kinwestiyon mo yung pagkalalaki nila eh.
I guess nakakalimutan din kasi ng mga tao, especially yung...
Tao lang yan.
Exactly, na tao din ang mga athletes.
And I think for you to drag somebody who passed away, a family member, into the conversation to make a point, I think that's a line that you cross.
Oh, exactly.
Diba?
Exactly. Anybody, any person that you mention a name like that, you're very lucky that you just got shoved. You just got shoved out of that because Joel Embiid is a 7-foot guy that is hefty. I have, and when you talk about, I have a handful of African friends. Shout out to all of them. I love you guys, especially Ben Afine, my good friend from Ghana. They're very protective. Their protective instincts on the honor of their family is a very big deal. And that's where Joel Embiid is coming from. Yeah, you can question his health, you can question the bad knees, the injuries, his
choice of load management.
Load management, you can question anything about his job, but once you involve the name of his son and his brother passed away, all bets are off. And everybody can say so many things until somebody knocks the living crap out of them. Sinabi ni Mike Tyson yun. Madaling magsalita eh. Kaya kailangan when you try to, sa space natin, we're looking at athletes not on their personality or anything else. We're looking at their performance.
Right.
Performance metrics. Yun yung tinitingnan. But with the case of Joel Embiid, I would, if somebody speaks ill about my family or questions my manhood, I mean, and then you would cry on the media.
Yeah.
So Coach Hammer, are you saying na valid naman yung reaction?
Actually, he got away with a very light reaction, response. That's just a shoving, and I think sinugod siya ni Joel Embiid na awat lang ng maayos.
Yeah.
Pero kasi, and we had also a similar case locally, di ba? We saw kay Poy Eram, di ba, na recently na parang, you can say anything about my game, but once you involve my family,
all bets are off.
Iba na usapan dyan. And I think a lot of people feel like it's so easy to say something about somebody because, again, like what Coach Hammer said.
Wala na kasing nasasapok.
Di ba? Pero,
I don't condone violence. Madaling magsalita, pero pag may sasapok na sa harapan mo, hindi gusto ko makita yung tapang.
Ako nga, for me, kung magta-type ka, ang unang criteria para mag-type ka at mag-comment is kaya mo bang sabihin sa harap ng tao yan pag magkaharap kayo? Kung hindi mo kayang sabihin yan, walang kwenta yung sasabihin mo. Kasi hindi mo kayang panindigan yan eh. Di ba?
Tsaka yung mga criticisms are a dime a dozen. And if you, I second that motion, that if you can't say it in front of the person, ako kasi ganoon ako na coach eh. And my players will attest to this na sasabihin ko talaga sa harapan nila, wala akong filter.
Yeah.
Brad, ayaw mo ba maglaro? O magaling lang talaga yung albularyo sa probinsya nyo na kahapon masakit yung paa mo, ngayon nakakadang ka na, ibang klase. It's stuff like that. But again, if it's a personal job, he could have chosen a different route of reacting kasi emotion is it's the main limiting factor of growth. If you're very emotional, but I'll give him a hall pass for that because if you mention anybody who passed away and questioning him and the way that he commits, all bets are off.
And syempre, it's a conversation kasi syempre people from the media, which we're also a part of, will always say na parang, you put yourself in a position wherein you can be glorified, diba? Because of your accomplishment. But you can also be crucified, diba? At the same time, parehas yan eh. You can, parang double-edged sword yan eh, diba? You get the benefits of being in the limelight, but part of that is you get criticized. And parang if you think of politics also and media talking about people in the politics, wala rin namang no holds bar rin naman ng mga tao, di ba? They call out people. And so, I would have to agree with Coach Hammer na parang you cannot blame Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Kasi mayroong mga buttons na you don't press.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? That again, this is parang common courtesy. This is just out of respect. Especially when you're talking about somebody who passed away. That's very, very
family
insensitive.
parang
That's
ano yan
very
eh.
insensitive.
A thin line eh. Trash
Yeah.
talk, you don't talk about family.
And it's
You talk how
tapos
God.
tragic death. Di ba? Parang you're not even sure. So, I think, obviously, iba yung statement na, oh, are you setting a good example for your kids? Or pwede, medyo ano pa yun eh, di ba? Okay, fine. Di ba? Fine. Pero yung para to involve somebody who passed away, I think that was just a line that you should never cross. That's just basic human decency. And I think he did apologize, but too late na eh. Di ba? Parang damage has been done. Alam na nga natin na si Joel Embiid is sensitive, di ba? He was saying na parang, oh, huwag niyo akong questionin about sa loyalty ko sa Philadelphia kasi I played with a broken finger, I almost got blind and all of that, and I sacrificed a lot for Philadelphia. You know, people will always have something to say. You know, it's never good enough. Good enough is never good enough. You know, that's the reality of the industry that we're in, regardless of whether you're in sports or entertainment or in politics. When you're in that position, talagang you're only as good as your last game. Diba? So, but again, there are still lines that you don't cross as a human being. Not even as a media person, not even as an athlete.
Yep.
There are just lines that you don't cross when you're a human being and you have that decency.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we are.
Correct yan. I mean, that's how you reacted. But, here's the big but. We would go back to his performance because the question is,
Yes.
okay, let's put that aside. He's been suspended 3 games. What's up with Joel Embiid? Ako personally, from my profession as a strength coach, number 1, you gotta assess what's happening with your body. I mean, you've suffered through a lot of injuries. Maybe it's your diet, that's number 1. Maybe it's your rest intervals, which is when you're talking about the NBA. It's a very transient, sobrang nakakapagod yan. Doon sa mga hindi pa naglalaro ng ligang labas, subukan nyo sumakay ng aeroplano. Pagka-landing, maglalaro kayo ng laro. Lalaro kayo ng bakbakan, papahinga kayo isang gabi, lilipad na kayo ulit kinabukasan, and weekly you do that. And they do it every day. That's number 2. And number 3, what are you doing in the off-season?
That's right.
Yeah, off-season. That's how you prepare. Are you taking enough time to recover? Kasi he had more load this year with Team USA. And for the past few seasons, lagi siyang kinakapos sa playoffs when it counts the most. So, you have to reassess. Ako, I'm just a fan. Looking from the outside looking in, looking at the metrics. It's the same thing that I questioned about Derrick Rose. You got injured and you haven't gotten the pop in your step back, and you're still working with the same people. You might as well take cliff notes of what's happening every day. Kaya na pinag-usapan natin off tube, but it's a different topic na. When you're handling your body, nobody knows it better than yourself.
Right.
Nobody knows it than the people that you practically stay every day. Kaya nga yung tatay ni Ja Morant, di ba? He is his trainer. And he got licensed for it. Ako, lagi akong kakarga doon. What are you doing in the off-season? That, parang yearly eh. Yearly, and you have mileage. If you can't play back-to-back, so be it. But how can you justify it? You gotta go balls out every time. You gotta go pedal to the metal every time you play. But ako, lagi kong babalikan, what are you doing in the off-season?
And this comes ironically at the time wherein everyone is raving about how well LeBron James takes care of his body.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang as if the formula doesn't exist. It does. Diba? Somebody has already created the pathway para sa'yo. Kasi pinakita na ni LeBron. And I'm assuming that's not just LeBron, di ba? There are other players who are doing and following suit.
Si LeBron nga outlier kasi he is physically gifted, naturally gifted. But if you look at other sports, tatanggalin natin yung mga outlier. How did Michael Phelps go back?
Yeah.
It's training, nutrition, commitment.
Exactly.
How did Tom Brady prolong his career and didn't expect? Kasi si Tom Brady couldn't run to save his life. Siguro nung younger, but nakita naman natin mga highlights. Ako lang, kasi Brady fan ako eh. And he took care, he had that TB12 method. And you can buy it for $29.99 on any bookstore. You can just message Alex Guerrero, Rob Gronkowski, who had so many spine surgeries, but still is nimble right now. So, laging merong means to an end.
If you take a look at even the way people now are training Wembanyama, di ba? The flexibility.
sobra.
Kasi, I mean, for you to play only 66% of the season, Mabigat yun eh.
Bigat.
Yeah.
And especially, you're a former MVP. Mataas yung
Exactly.
expectations sa kanya.
Yes.
So, it's more about his availability and the way that he does things, the way that he... I'm not privy to it. I've seen Paul George personally rehab when I was doing my internship abroad, when he was recovering from his broken leg. That was 10 years ago. He was still with the Pacers. One guy that I saw trade with nobody around was David freaking West. This guy just shows up, does his push-ups, pull-ups, committed, and si born ready. Si Lance Stephenson, those guys are gym rats. Everybody can say so many things about Lance Stephenson, but he knows how to take care of his body. So that's a very big deal when it comes to an 82-game season, especially if you're carrying a lot of load from the city of brotherly love.
So ako kami, we're not judging Joel Embiid. We don't know what he does behind closed doors. But numbers still don't lie, diba? If you're playing 60%, 66% of your season, then you'll be judged based on that. And you cannot take it against people to say something about it. Again, going back to his case, just there are lines that you just don't cross. But besides that, they are questioning the professionalism of Joel Embiid. And because you can only base it on numbers, and that, again, doesn't lie.
Alright, I guess it's time for us to move on to our second hot take of tonight. So, is Cooper Flag worth the hype?
Oh!
I love this kid.
Alam, ako rin.
I love
Sige,
this.
kayo na, go.
Parang wala kaming argument tonight.
Then-
Parang mamaya sa mga epics siguro. Pero, Coach JB.
No, ako, because I have a son. And this guy is just a year older than my son. He's born December 2006. Because I was wondering, like, where was he? Because he's currently 17 years old. And I was like, why wasn't he in the World Cup? But then I realized, oh, he's born 2006 because World Cup was 2007. And so, but I see, and then, so he's just 1 year older than my son. And yet, he competed against the Olympics team
Exactly,
of
yes.
Team USA and did well. And that's why we're talking about him, is because of that. When he played against Team USA, he caught everyone's attention, diba? And now, he's playing in Duke. He had his first game, made an impact. His stats he was doing well, 30 minutes. He had 18.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. And he's not your flashy player na sobrang athletic agad, na parang standout kasi halimaw tumangkad. No, this guy was just fundamentally sound, high basketball IQ, posted up if the guy defending him was a guard, brought out the ball and used his handles if the guy defending him was taller. He found his big man, he created, he opened up the floor, he was crashing boards, getting follow-up rebounds and points. This guy was, for me, very efficient, and that's why I like him. And so, just to talk about who he is, that's the kind of player that we're talking about, and he performed well against Team USA.
Yes.
Exactly. Yung it gives me goosebumps because as a basketball coach, kami ni Coach JB, we look at the other things. Yung mga highlights, yung mga three-point shots, it's all shared. The habits. Number 1, corner shooter, does he crash boards? Oh my goodness. Corner crasher, ang dami niyang rebound taps. Does he move the ball? Because any higher level recruit, and you're playing in Duke, they had Jay Williams, they had Grant Hill, who was the son of a football player, they had Carlos Boozer, Mike Dunleavy. This was the guys that started that, yung run na nila ngayon. They got Kyrie, they got Tatum, Ingram, but not everybody plays this way. They had one guy that they developed that became a lottery pick and a national player of the year, and also the defensive player of the year. That he reminds me so much of, but this guy is more offensively skilled. Shane Battier. When he was in Duke, he was highly recruited, plays and competes so hard on the little things. If you watch Cooper Flag, maganda tignan, okay, sige, the next great white hope, 6'10", can shoot from the outside, can dribble, can finish on a dunk, but his fundamentals are on point. Meron siyang sequence, he was on the weak side, he was the drifter, blow-by, baseline, na ikutan yung big guy, and he was the guy who tagged on the shooter from corner to the other side. And those things, kailangan talaga you're a basketball savant. And number 1, you're a basketball savant, you're smart enough to do that. And number 2, you're committed enough to understand the game plan na, oh, ito yung binibigay. ng opensa. So pagka-swing doon, nag-react yung mga kakampi ko. Ito yung susunod ko na galaw. And the cool thing was, when he rotated, he was communicating to the other big guy. So yun yung mga maliliit na bagay. Sorry po, nagiging technical ako kasi ganyan yung nagpapakilig sa akin. Kasi yun yung mga players na I wish I knew when I was younger that this was the right way to play. Kasi dati bangga lang, i-dunk mo lang, rebound ka. Okay, but there's some, and he plays so hard. He competes so hard, and that's what coaches love. Kaya sakto siya na napunta. Kaya nga yung second choice niya, Michigan State.
Yeah.
Tom Izzo eh. So, yung dalawang teams na yun, yung talagang hard recruit sa kanya. He wouldn't go to a Calipari team. He won't go to a school like that. He would go with a hard-nosed coach. Kaya bagay na bagay siya sa
So we can say that he is worth the hype, right? But the question here is, what about his future? Is this the best time for him to go pro or hintay muna tayo? An example, Dwight Ramos and Kevin Kimbao, right? So is it kailangan bang let's go pro na since eto na yan?
Okay, can I answer this?
This is a good, I think feeling ko dito tayo tatagal kasi madaming konteksto eh.
Kasi ako kapitalista ko eh. Kapitalista ako, and the biggest swing dito. If you were talking about this maybe a decade ago, I would have said yes, go pro right away. But me, with the presence of the NIL deal, that's a big deal. Remember, Cooper Flag signed with New Balance. That's his official partner. Yeah, Duke plays under Nike. They're a Nike school. But the NIL deal, name, image, and likeness, he gets paid by his own brand, which is New Balance, which is from their hometown, Samin. So, ang laking bagay nun. And it's dollars. And now he can be sponsored by a lot of people, just like Caitlin Clark, but this is bigger kasi this is men's basketball, and the Final Four is so much money in college sports right now in the States and in the Philippines, but that's a different topic for another day. So, para sa akin, if it's not a pressing need, your talent is there, of course you want to go to the NBA, but bababa yung value niya with the rookie scale. Magiging 5 million a year with what he signed with New Balance. Not privy to the numbers, but that's north of 12 a year yan. Malamang. So ako, would you go pro? Of course, for competitive purposes, yeah. But if you can stay 2 years, 3 years with a good program, get you to be the next phase of college basketball and collect all the NIL money, of course, I'm not a businessman, I'm the businessman. Sabi ni Sean Carter.
And then for me, I completely agree because I think it's a case-to-case basis. It's too early to say anything, only because I feel like, kasi, okay, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a story. My dad was the coach of Ateneo, right? And then one of their games that I think during that time, the 2002 Ateneo team, was the highlight of that was Jack Chia's winning shot, right? It was a game 3 against UE, James Yap, Ronald Tubid, Paul Artadi, JR Estrada, strong team, right? And Jack Chia took the last shot, right? Jack Chia probably, if you were to ask people right now, do you know who Jack Chia is? In the PBA, people won't remember who he is, right? They'd remember him for that last shot. And so he asked the question, should I go to the draft? Like he asked my dad, should I go to the draft? Sabi niya, Jack, you should go to the draft now because people know about you. Your stock is
Parang fourth year
very
ngayon
high.
He still has one more year to play.
Yeah. Your stock is very high, di ba? In other words, it's still about perception, di ba? Parang if Cooper goes and joins out, now people are talking about it because what people are talking about is the hype of him playing against the Team USA. Right? So he's, because anything can happen from today till the day he decides to get drafted. Right? If he stays longer in Duke, gets paid, gets his money, but anything can happen in between.
Yep.
So it's a very difficult decision to make. It's a day-by-day decision that you have to, di ba? You can't parang set it on stone na sabihin mo, tapusin ko yung playing years ko sa Duke. Kasi kukuha pa ako ng pera eh. Kasi anything can happen in between.
Sana ganyan din mag-isip yung mga player natin locally.
Di ba? Mahirap eh. Pero ako nga, kasi nga, for me, for example, you brought up KQ, di ba? KQ had a really, I think,
That was a very good offer.
Good offer abroad, di ba?
Very good offer abroad.
And yet he decided to stay, right? But then you have also the guy, like you mentioned also, Dwight Ramos, that he didn't even set foot in the UAAP.
An even better offer.
And yet he played in Gilas, and then got his stock so high, didn't need UAAP to kind of establish who he is. Right? So it's a matter of really taking the right steps in the ladder, the rung in the ladder, di ba? And whatever pathway you choose, kailangan mo pa rin isipin is how is it benefiting me in long term. Di ba? And so, if you were to ask me right now, people know about him. Right now, right? Maybe, it might, because I think may haka-haka na he's just gonna play 1 year in Duke and then papadraft na siya, di ba? So, that could be, di ba? That could be. But then, anything again can happen in between. So, it's a very difficult question to answer because it's not recommended na, go pro automatic agad. Di ba? High risk. Ang dami din naman na high school player na nag-pro kaagad tapos walang napala eh. Diba? Bibihira yung Kobe Bryant, bibihira yung mga katulad ni Kevin Garnett na umakyat kaagad eh. Di ba? Na pumotok. Bihira yun. Di ba? Outlier yun eh. Madami rin sumubok pero they didn't make it. So, case to case siya.
Case to case. Yun talaga yung, yan ang biggest answer dyan. And we shall see dahil they have a very stacked team. The number 1 and number 2 prospect is in their squad. They're very well coached. And we'll see dahil maganda yung game nila against Kentucky. A revamped squad. Talking about a young Kentucky squad niya. The Wildcats are entering their first post John Calipari era. And Calipari has the number 1 team preseason, di ba? In Arkansas, a lot of transferees because of that NIL. Money is being thrown around by the NCAA sa States.
So out of curiosity, sa future, sa tingin nyo, anong team ang bagay sa kanya? Or sino ba yung player na yun that he can help? Essentially.
Actually, parang lahat ng pupuntahan ng team, honestly, as a basketball coach, any coach would love to have a Cooper flag. He plays the right way. Yan yung sinasabi lagi ng coaches, lalo na it's the American way of playing. This is old school basketball that you compete defensively, you do the right thing, you pass the ball, and he is not an ISO player.
Yeah, that's right.
He can do the ISO moves, but he prefers to stay in structure. Kaya yung mga coaches, kaya natuntuwa ako pag pinapanood yung mga batang ganyan, nakakatuwa na, ay tama, hindi nagta-turn over.
Yun ang crucial. For me, he makes the right calls eh. For me, yun yung efficiency talaga. When you're watching a player and you're looking at the decisions they make, we're not saying don't take shots. But he's taking shots within the offense.
Structured.
Di ba? Tapos pili eh. Lahat eh. Alam niya kung kailan siya poposte. Alam niya kung saan siya pupunta. Alam niya kung kailan siya magsa-spot up. Alam niya kung kailan siya magka-crash ng boards. Alam niya kung kailan siya so for me, yun yung na-appreciate ko. Na for me, utility guy ka in that sense that you're so good at what you do, the efficiency rate is high that he can fit in it. Diba? And then it's a matter of, okay, syempre when you talk about the NBA, it's taking your game to the next level. And that's the big question. What's the next level for him in terms of, is he going to be this kind of shooter? Is he going to be this kind of creator? He has to be able to form an identity in his game. Diba? Right now sa college, lamang na lamang siya kasi ang taas ng IQ eh. Tapos, minatch mo pa ng, meron athleticism yung bata, nakita mo na ba dumang? So, diba?
Shotmaker. Diba? Shotmaker. Kasi kadalasan pagka shotmaker, parang Eric Gordon ng bata, Bradley Beal, Lou Williams. Pag shotmaker, nagiging shot chucker pagdating sa college. Tira kasi ng tira. Dahil doon sila narinig, nagiging volume scorer. Kasi sa high school, okay lang, hindi ka mapapansin. Yung averages mo yung titignan, hindi titignan.
And saka paminsan sa high school kasi, paminsan ikaw lang yung magaling talaga eh.
Oo.
Diba? So papayagan na ikaw lang gumawa ng gumawa. Pagdating ng college, madami na yan. Siyempre, habang umaakit ka ng level, diba? Even local, parang nasasala eh. So pagaling ng pagaling yung mga nakakasama mo sa team. And for you to be able to pick your shots correctly in a team that's stacked, that says a lot about what kind of player you are.
Alright, I guess we have to move on to our last hot take. Well, actually, it's the SPN expert pick. So, one, can you please share
all three na ba?
Yes.
Per game. So for me, so we have the games with Boston will go against Golden State, and then we'll also have Lakers going against Memphis, and then we have Denver going against OKC. So personally, I'm good. I'm happy to see Steph back after an injury.
Yeah, scary, no?
But it's interesting. The Golden State and Boston for me will be. Kasi, okay.
Nagulat ka ba sa Golden State? The way that they're playing?
Actually, nung nawala si Steph Curry, bigla sila naging defensive team eh. Di ba naging defensive team sila? And then you're going up against a high scoring team in Boston, di ba? But they don't have Jaylen Brown now in their lineup kasi nga he's injured. So, but nonetheless, they are in the last game they had 6 players scoring above 10 points. Pritchard, White, Holiday, Tatum. And then in the last 2 games, they scored 8 and they had 18 3-points and 16 3-points in the previous game before that. I mean, they doubled down on how good they are. Diba? That's their strength in Boston. Diba? They're defensive and outside shooting team, and they doubled down on that. And so for me, I'm picking Boston because I feel like they can play good defense. The offense of Golden State is not quite there yet. Although they did score 125 points, diba? But it's still not there against a highly defensive team. And I think, again, you're talking about the defending champ. So for me, for this one, I'm going with Boston. You want to pick yours first?
I have a parlay here. I'll pick Boston, and I'm parlaying Jalen Tatum to score 50 in this game just because of hate. He would choose hate on this game because, again, Steve Kerr didn't give him burn. Jaylen Brown, medyo injured, may nararamdaman, and lights out. Jason Tatum is trying to get that MVP this year. He has that, he is on a lock, and the way that the Boston Celtics has been defending and swinging that basketball, pinanonood ko kina. Alas isang umaga, nagbubuhat ako, pinanood ko yung replay ng Atlanta. Nahilo ako eh. Puro athlete na yung dumidepensa sa Atlanta kasi they had Ricochet, Trae Young lang nga yung maliit. These guys are 6'8", pati yung sentro nila, wing eh. Kasi panay wing yung ginawang lineup ng Boston. Nahilo ako sa dami ng close
and lahat kasi threat na sa offense.
Oo, lahat shooter kasi. And ang laking bagay na si Drew Holiday at Derek White, kumukuha ng offensive rebounds. So yun nga, again,
pumupuntos.
Peyton Pritchard pa yun. Peyton Pritchard, one of my new favorites. Kasi
he's doing really well.
Pag pinapasok si Peyton Pritchard, parang kung ikaw yung coach, kampante ka, hindi magta-turnover.
Highest point yata the game before that, I think.
Tapos parang bebentahan ka pa ng gamit na kotse pagkatapos. Mukhang used car salesman pag nakasuit eh. Pero sobrang low profile lang. Pero pagka nilalabas yung starters, pag pumasok si Peyton Pritchard, si Luke Kornet, and the other guys, si Tillman nakakashoot na ng
Ang tricky part kasi dito sa game na to is, arguably, and people are talking about this, that Golden State, I think, has the deepest bench right now in the NBA.
He uses 12 guys.
That's right. So parang yun yung magandang laban eh. Ako, for me, I'm excited about this game above all the other games there. Boston and Golden State, because nga, again, labanan siya talaga, lalabasan na ng talent. Makikita mo yung Golden State, gaano kalalim na ba talaga yung lalim mo, kapapalag na ba sa defending champions? Because you're looking at a post Steph and Clay era, diba? And so, but you're looking at also Steph trying to still give it one last push. But then you have a Tatum that's saying, look, I want to win this all the way, right? And I want to win again, diba?
High scoring game.
I feel like.
At saka, may isa pa ako dito pick. Parlay pa ulit. Over-under 63-point attempts combined for both. Mababa pa nga yun eh. Over-under 67 three-pointers attempted for both squads. Over ako dito.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the field goal attempts from three, because their past 7 games, it's been said that they are two of the most potent outside shooting teams, and the pace will be off the charts in this game. Pero Boston ako.
Yeah, Boston.
Same kami. Same.
So next is LA, Memphis. Okay, obviously parang on paper, people are probably I'm picking actually LA for this one. Although they both are coming from a very tough loss. LA tinambakan ng Detroit. Tapos
Detroit looks good pagka on certain days and when they...
When you talk about LA, di ba? Parang tambak 115 under 3. Yung Memphis din, they lost to Brooklyn by 2 points, pero kasi wala yung star player ng Brooklyn, di ba? So, they're in the middle of the pack, 4-3 ang LA, 4-4 ang Memphis. I think AD is playing so well. I think he's gonna do a good job defending Eddie. Ja, on the other hand, I think Memphis lives and dies with Ja, right? Like how he plays will determine if they're gonna win or lose, and I think that's a very predictable outcome. So if you're LA with the kind of just the depth also of LA that can defend Ja, I think that puts Memphis in a delikado sila. So ako, para dito, for me, ang pick ko is LA.
Well, ako din, LA ako dito, provided that the ankles and the knees of Anthony Davis hold up dahil he tweaked it. Minor tweak the past few games, and day-to-day, but again, if you're dressed up, you're expected to play 100%. And the way that LA has been playing and when their shots are falling, they are a good team to watch, especially when they are on that PNR split action. Pagka ang screener si Lebron, tapos nasa corner si Anthony Davis siya yung aakyat. Parang alanganin kasi big man yung umakit. But it's the NBA now. And JJ Redick doing a great job picking LA here.
Meron ka bang parlay tips dyan?
Wala, okay na ako. Ano yung una, marami yung bomba dun sa una.
And lastly,
Denver OKC. All right. I just have to say, Chet has been playing
Lights out.
so good.
Lights out.
He's so good. I watched the last game that because they played already. The last time they met was October 25. Itong si Denver and si OKC. And I was worried that Jokic would bully his way to the rim. Siyempre si Chet, di ba, medyo mapayat. Tapos parang feeling mo, kakainin ng buhay. Kung sino-sino kinakainin ni Jokic, di ba, sa poste. But then he stood his ground, di ba? He wasn't fancy. He knew the footwork of Jokic. Had some good blocks again and made major stops. I know we're gonna talk about SGA when we're talking about OKC, but for me it's Chet. He can defend. In the last, I think, 4 meetings na itong dalawang teams na to, tatlo dun pinanalo ng OKC. And I think they're quicker. They spread the floor so well. Paminsan makikita mo si Chet nasa poste, paminsan nasa corner, paminsan nagdidribble sa ibabaw. And I think it forces Denver to sit down si Jokic because of the kind of movement that OKC has. With Chet on the floor, it speeds up a lot of things. They need to match up with that. And then, so natatanggal, naninegate yung Jokic factor. And that's why I'm picking OKC. They're 7-0, not to mention that. Diba? And then itong si Denver nga is 4-3. So, I think OKC will take this win.
Such a loaded squad tong OKC. The amount of bodies that they have in that squad that can rotate, can fit in, but the top 2 priorities is Chet and SGA. Shot making of this team is off the charts now. But here's the big but. Can Denver adjust? Because they're still ang dami pa nilang hindi na-expose
Kailangan mo kasing na-expose si Jokic.
Na-expose na mababaw yung rotation nila.
Tsaka mabagal.
Oo, mabagal.
So,
wala eh. Ito na yung laro ngayon with the way that the NBA is playing. Ang hope ko nga nun, itong Orlando. Kasi Orlando is my Game Pass team of the year. Kasi laging pinanonood kasi very physical and the way that they play. Kasi na-injure yung Wendell Carter. Malaking bagay yun sa kanila sa rotation. And masyadong pino magtakbo ng opensa nila at ng depensa itong koponan ng OKC. So this will be a
just watching the pick and roll of SGA and Chet, grabe, ang daming options eh. Ang galing magbasa parehas.
Ang ganda rin kasi ng basa ni SGA.
Tapos yung iba pa, sila Dort, pagka pinasaan, nakakashoot sa
Tsaka
dribbles eh.
yung Dort na naging consistent 3 to 4 3-pointers made. Over 4 3-pointers made. Si Lou Dort on this game. That's my part there. Pinasok. Lou Dort has been that guy na pwede nilang gawing combo from 3 guy to 4 guy that laging siya yung naiiwanan. And then, of course, Jalen Williams and all those guys all ready to compete. But the most important part here is how will Denver pick up the pieces dahil they have a lot of round
They have to pick their poison eh. Kasi it's either they go with Jokic, their MVP. But he's a liability on defense. I think he cannot outrun Chet. Like this guy sprints, runs, moves the ball well, the floor spacing. And Jokic, siyempre na-expose siya, yung bagal niya na-expose dito eh, di ba? So, they have to pick their poison. They either go all the way Jokic or then they have to sit him down and then make the adjustments and go small, di ba? Or go faster. But, delikado sila and until they haven't figured that out, I think OKC. Ikaw ba, Coach?
OKC. Masyadong pino, tsaka trying to get to that 60-win mark this year.
That's right.
OKC.
Alright, before heading to our comments, just to recap our expert picks, no? So for the first game, Boston Celtics tayo. Second game, LA Lakers. And lastly, Oklahoma, right? Okay, now, our comments.
So maraming comments dito yung kay Joel Embiid feeling ko. Nakatukan na siya.
Okay, so, mas marami pang attendance si Bronny kesa kay Embiid.
Uy, kumpleto naman ang attendance si Embiid, hindi lang nakabihis. Hindi lang nakabihis, nagsasnap siya doon. But Kasi mataas na rin yung mileage nito. Pero kung ikukumpara mo kasi si Bronny, natake sa puso, uminto yung puso, naglalaro pa rin eh. Pero bata pa. Bagets pa eh, bagets.
And last comment for tonight. If JJJ will play tomorrow, Grizz will win by 10 plus points.
That's a very big if.
Yeah.
If he is healthy. Big if. Pero maganda, okay din yung si Triple J ngayong dyan sa Memphis. Kasi team mo talaga nila ni Ja eh.
Yeah.
And the pieces
It
of
is.
it. And Desmond Bain and all those guys just fill in the blanks. Maraming mga new guys. But again, ang question ko sa'yo. Anong mas matindi? Bronny and LeBron? O Dudut and the Jabo? O yan ang...
I've said
Brad.
my piece about the Bronny thing. You know, I get like I said, I watched kasi yung starting five sa Netflix, diba? So you kind of see the story and how the heart attack of Bronny kind of shook the entire family. Diba? They were very emotional about it. They thought, you know, they lost their son. And buti nila may nag-CPR nung time.
Yeah,
Talagang collapse talaga eh. Diba?
Yeah,
Parang,
very important.
And so, in the blink of an eye, it changed. And as a father, parang naka-empathize ako sa kanila, di ba? And parang now it makes sense na, okay, we're probably living in borrowed time. We don't know what else can happen to Bronny.
Yes.
And so, I kind of get na medyo selfish si LeBron by bringing in Bronny. And at least it's been done, it's been said, we've set a record. You now remember and know my son Bronny, di ba? But, kaya nga kasi noong una, ang ano ko dyan is, contention ko dyan is, seryoso ka ba, LeBron? Parang nilagay mo sa alanganin yung anak mo eh. Premature
Makikriticize eh, no? Makikriticize.
Di ba premature eh? Kawawa naman yung pressure doon sa anak mo. Unnecessary pressure. If he just took his time and really developed, I don't think he's NBA ready. But then, watching starting five and seeing what that heart attack did to the family, parang they feel like every day with Bronny now is a blessing. And so, LeBron wanting this for Bronny and wanting this for their family, it makes sense. Kasi, for all you know, mag-retire na si Bronny next season, okay na, tapos na. But he's in the record books, right?
Yes.
I
So,
played with my dad.
ibibigay mo na yan, di ba? So parang, for me, medyo naintindihan ko nung angulo na yun eh. Pero again, if we're looking at Bronny playing a longer career, I think it's not healthy. You know, what just happened, it wasn't healthy for him.
Just get your name on the record books. Help your dad in his empire.
Yeah.
This guy's a billionaire. You got a lot of opportunities. But again, he would play. That's what they want. And pero ako Jabo tsaka Dudut. Dahil Game 5 tayo Game 5 tayo today ng finals natin.
Yes. Okay, well...
Pivotal game 5.
Pivotal. Baka makashoot ulit yung Steve. Grabe yung Holt. Tsaka yung Missy. Nababa na yung lamang. Teka lang, medyo sa segue kami, Derek. Kasi ang ganda nung Game 4 para sa Ginebra. Dahil alam ko marami mga SPNation natin ang nakatutok dyan.
Yes.
And ganda na nilaro ni Calvin
That's right.
for that game. But Missy, si Stephen Holt, and TNT had no answer to Japet Aguilar. Yung magka-cancel out ng RHJ at saka yung Justin Brownlee. But the locals stepped up big time in that game number 4. So we'll see game number 5. Good luck, Coach Yuri Escueta and the whole TNT Nation. Diba? Bawi kayo this game 5.
Okay, well, it's been a fun discussion. But before that, again, sports fans, if you're ready to elevate your sports experience, dive into the world of live sports like never before with Sports Plus PH. So if you want to hear more from us, kindly follow us on our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Sports Plus Philippines. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, I'm your host, Kyla Cortez. Joining me are Juan Banal and Martin Antonio.
So what inspired you to finally start your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I got inspired by being bored. It's just something else to do, and I just thought it would be cool. I only got one video. I don't know what I'll post again, but it's just something I'll do if I'm bored.
What content can your fans expect from the YouTube channel in the near future?
Probably when I go back to Japan, I'll show you probably what I'm cooking or what I'm eating, something like that. Something simple. Yeah, the grocery tour, I'll do that.